This is 5 Minute Friday on getting started in machine learning. During last week's episode, I answered questions from podcast listeners on the future-proofness of a data science career. In today's episode, I'm handling questions on how to learn machine learning, particularly if you're starting from scratch. More specifically, Jon Krohn reached out to me in a tweet on Twitter to ask me, what is the best free learning path for those starting to learn machine learning? All right, so this is kind of a spammy and super biased way to start the episode, which isn't something I set to do here on purpose, I swear. But when you ask about learning paths in machine learning, I can't resist mentioning that you can create a free account on superdatascience.com and check out the 4 specific learning paths we have there. Roughly ranked from novice to expert in machine learning, they are the data analyst or business intelligence analyst track, the data scientist track, the AI engineer track, and the data science manager track. You can check out everything that's there for free. And then there's a small monthly subscription fee to get unlimited access to all of the hundreds and hundreds of hours of content in the superdatascience.com platform. If you're looking for a single standalone course to get started, the Machine Learning A to Z course, again by Super Data Science, is 44 hours long and available via Udemy for typically a couple dozen US dollars or less. Note that Udemy pricing is highly variable day to day, but assuming you get a discount day, it's a steal at a few cents per hour of video. Again, as host of the Super Data Science podcast, I obviously have a lot of bias on Super Data Science courses. Another option, and one that I'm finally in no way biased about, is that if you'd like to interactively execute example code directly within a platform, I think DataQuest is pretty darn cool. They have a free tier to get started, and then charge about $50 per month for their premium tier, which gives you access to everything. In a tweet responding to Chad's original Twitter question on the best free learning paths in machine learning, the software engineer Matej Kovac kindly recommended my own Machine Learning Foundations course, which introduces the foundational subjects, linear algebra, calculus, probability, statistics, and computer science that you'd typically learn in grad school before moving on to machine learning itself. I do personally think it's the best place to start if you have the time to invest in these foundations. But again, I would be a big proponent of my own course, wouldn't I? Anyway, I've finished filming more than a quarter of my Machine Learning Foundations content, and the first 1/8 is online now, with more going up every week. I anticipate it will all be publicly available by the summer. The content is available for free on YouTube, but in partnership with Super Data Science, it's also available as a Udemy course, which includes fully worked solutions to every exercise and a certificate of completion. And eventually, after I have all the content recorded and uploaded, I'll focus on adding interactive quizzes and handy study sheets to the Udemy course as well. Once you have a firm grip on all the prerequisite linear algebra, calculus, and probability theory, a classic book to completely master the advanced theory of machine learning is a book called Deep Learning by Ian Goodfellow, Yoshua Bengio, and Aaron Courville. It's 100% free at deeplearningbook.org. Finally, on my personal website at jonkrohn.com/resources, I maintain tons of free categorized resources, datasets, blog posts, videos, books, and so on for getting started in machine learning all the way through to being an expert in a particular machine learning area like financial time series analysis, or generally staying at the cutting edge of all the academic research. Feel free to tag me in a LinkedIn post or in a tweet to let me know of your favorite machine learning resource. I'd love to be enlightened, and if I think it's appropriate, we'll add it to the resources page of my website, or maybe even talk about it on a forthcoming episode. Okay, well, that was a long answer to one question, but let's tackle one more. Let's wrap this episode up with a related question from Yusuf Murad, who's a brilliant German engineer and host of the Engineered Mind podcast that I happened to recently be a guest on. Yusuf asked me in a tweet, what is one of the hardest concepts for you to understand in machine learning? Well, let's see here. There's lots that's tricky. So while it's trivially easy for me to execute support vector machine methods with high-level Python code, say in scikit-learn, I've forgotten the details of how the underlying kernel trick works to enable support vector machines to work under the covers. And I've also been very slow to understand how many deep reinforcement learning concepts work in theory. For example, again, through hands-on experience, I appreciate how well the deep Q learning algorithm works for complex sequential tasks like playing video games, but I cannot picture the underlying Q learning table updates in my mind yet, which definitely annoys me. There's always more to learn in machine learning, and that's part of why I find this field so bloody exciting. Alrighty, we're out of time for this week. On next week's 5-Minute Friday, building on what we talked about today, getting started in machine learning, I'll be back to discuss how to be a leader in the field of machine learning. If you'd like to ask me your own data science or machine learning questions or anything at all, feel free to tag me in a post on LinkedIn or on Twitter, where my handle's @Jon Krohn Learns, and I'll aim to answer them via social media or perhaps on an upcoming Super Data Science episode. See you there soon.